Good morning, everyone. So, today we will start chapter 2, that is structure of atom. Students, in previous chapter we have studied that Dalton has given the atomic theory, which was very successful, but later on there were we have studied about some drawbacks of Dalton's atomic theory. Actually, in all the postulates there was some or another problem, and many experiments and observations were made by the scientists toward the end of the 19th and the beginning of the 20th century showed that atoms have an internal structure consisting of subatomic particles. Dalton has said that atoms are the smallest units and they cannot divide further, but later on it was proven actually that the atoms consist of subatomic particles. Many different kind of subatomic particles were discovered in the 20th century. So in this chapter we will study about some of that, means not some of that, actually all of that particles, that is electrons, protons and neutrons. So we will start with discovery of electrons. Students, the electrical nature of matter has been known from ancient times, but it was, the invention of electron, the credit of invention of electron goes to J.J. Thomson, though so many other scientists also work for this, but the main credit goes to J.J. Thomson. Although Faraday also play a very important role in this, because Michael Faraday gave the first important clue about the electrical nature of matter. He observed then when electricity is passed through a solution of an electrolyte, the chemical reactions occurred at the electrodes, which results in the liberation and deposition of matter at the electrodes. You people must have studied in your junior classes that phenomena is called as electrolysis. So he has formulated certain laws also known as Faraday's law of electrolysis, about which you people will study in class 12th. But the importance of Faraday's laws lies in the fact that he has suggested, he has given actually the relationship between the electricity and matter for the first time. For the first time, he has given the relationship between electricity and matter. So later on, so many scientists work on that, and so many scientists done experiments on base of this. So J.J. Thomson also did one experiment which is called as discharge tube experiment. Why it is called as discharge tube experiment? You can see on the screen there is one tube. So first I will explain you something about this tube. So see students, what this tube consists of. Here at the two ends you can see two plates. So these are actually the metallic plates which we can consider as the electrodes. So it is fitted with two metallic electrodes, and the tube is connected to a side tube also. Here this smaller one, this is called as vacuum pump, or this is also called as evacuated pump. With the help of this he has regulated the pressure inside the tube because he has filled the gas. So to regulate the pressure of that gas, he has adjusted a evacuated pump over here. With the help of that pump, we can extract the gas, we can evacuate the gas. So when the amount of gas will decrease, obviously the number of atoms will decrease, and when the number of atoms of gas will decrease, the pressure will also decrease. So this evacuation pump is for maintaining the pressure, for decreasing the pressure, you can say. And two electrodes I have told you, and in tube he has taken a gas, and then to both these terminals, that is negative terminal cathode and positive terminal anode, he has connected with a battery. With the help of this battery, he has given a very high voltage, approximately 1000 voltage current he has given in this experiment. And he made certain observations when he has done the experiment. I'm telling you again, this is a glass tube. Inside this there is a gas, and here two terminals. One is connected with the negative terminal, the left hand side one, that is connected with the negative terminal called as cathode, Right hand side one is connected with the positive terminal called as anode, and both these are connected with a very high voltage generator through which he has given the very high voltage of approximately 1000 volt. And here there is a small U-shaped tube you can see. This is actually the vacuum pump, or you can say the evacuation tube, due to which he has maintained the pressure. Now what he has observed, when he has passed the high voltage current, he has observed when the discharge tube contains any gas at a very normal pressure, that is approximately 1 atm pressure, then nothing will happen. He has observed nothing. Even at a very high voltage, he has observed nothing. The gas remain non-conducting. But when he has decreased the pressure up to you can say 10 to the power minus 2 atmospheric pressure, when he has decreased the pressure, so the gas becomes conducting and the light is emitted. A light he has observed, the radiation he has observed by the residual gas in the tube, and the color of the light, it depends upon the nature of the gas taken. He has taken hydrogen gas, so he has observed the greenish blue stream of radiation is going from negative terminal to positive terminal, that is cathode to anode, that is from left hand side to right hand side. So he became very excited. So then he decreased the temperature, the pressure again. So this time he maintained the pressure up to 10 to the power minus 4 atmospheric pressure. So what he has observed, he observed that greenish blue color became fade, but the radiation is still going on. Radiation is going on, but it is color. The color became fade. The color was not visible. So so to make it more clear, what he did then, the flow of current from cathode to anode was further checked by him. He make a hole this time in the anode, and behind the anode he has coated a tube. Behind the anode he has coated a fluorescent material sheet. Here he has adjusted a fluorescent material sheet that was made of zinc sulfide. And what he has observed, he has observed that the rays from cathode to anode, some rays are passing from cathode to anode, and when these rays are striking on the zinc sulfide, a bright spot on the coating is developed over there. The same students, the same we can see in the television sets also, that I'll explain you later. So what he has observed, when the pressure was very means normal, it was approximately 1 atm, then nothing he has observed. When he has decreased the pressure up below to 10 to the power minus 2, he has observed some greenish blue streams of radiation going from cathode to anode. And then he decreased the pressure below to 10 to the power minus 4 atm. He observed that color of the radiation became fade, but the radiation was going on. So to see that radiations clearly, he make a hole in the anode, and behind the anode he has adjusted a fluorescent material sheet. That sheet was made up by zinc sulfide. And what he saw very bright spot on the zinc sulfide sheet. Zinc sulfide sheet was made up of fluorescent material. Fluorescent material is a material that when light or when rays strikes on that, they just glow up. So that is why he has taken this fluorescent material. Now you can see this here.
His experiments consisted of a glass discharge tube, now called cathode ray tubes or Crookes tubes, and a high voltage source of 10,000 volts. The discharge tube was sealed at both the ends and was fitted with a thin piece of metal called electrodes at each end. It had a side tube fitted with a stopcock that connected with a vacuum pump to control the pressure of the gas or air contained inside the tube. Crookes observed that at a low pressure of 0.01 atmospheres, when high voltage of 10,000 volts is applied across the electrodes of the discharge tube, current starts flowing inside the tube. To further study the behavior of this current, he punctured the anode inside the cathode ray tube and coated the glass tube behind the anode with a fluorescent material, such as zinc sulfide, and then repeated the experiment. This time, he noticed a bright spot on the coating behind the anode, which confirmed two things. One, the current consisted of invisible ray of particles, some of which could pass through the perforated anode. Two, these rays were emitted out of cathode and moved towards the anode. These rays were
Now, because these rays appear to come from cathode, these rays were appear to extract from cathode and were appear to going towards anode, and cathode is a negative terminal and anode is a positive terminal. So he has given the name cathode rays to these rays. He has given the name cathode rays, and he said that these rays are having negative charge because these are coming from cathode, so these are having negative charge. So he became very excited to know about the cathode rays, to know about the characteristics of cathode rays, and he has done certain more experiments, or you can say certain more changes he has done, and so many observations he has noted down and concluded according to that.
named
What were that?
cathode rays. Some other facts about the cathode rays were discovered in 1897 by J.J. Thomson and other scientists through a series of experiments. In one of his experiments, Thomson observed that if a pinwheel
So the first thing what J.J. Thomson said, he said that cathode rays have mechanical properties. What are the mechanical properties? Mechanical properties means if the things those are having the mechanical properties, if these things hit to anything, that thing start moving. So we say the mechanical properties. So what happened? He has adjusted a very small pedal wheel in between the path of cathode rays, means in between the cathode and anode he has adjusted a very small pedal. And what he observed that when rays passed, the wheels start moving. So why the wheels start moving? It means these rays are having the particle nature, because when these rays are hitting to this pedal is moving. It means these rays are giving some kinetic energy to this pedal. Because of that pedal is moving. So we can say that cathode rays have mechanical properties.
is placed in the path of the cathode rays, the ray caused the pinwheel to rotate. This implied that cathode rays are made of material particles that produced a mechanical effect. He then observed that if a metal foil is placed in the path of cathode rays, it becomes hot.
The next thing what he said that these cathode rays have heating effects. Why he said this? Because when he adjusted an aluminium foil in between the cathode and anode, or you can say in between the path of cathode rays, he observed that the aluminium foil became warm. So aluminium foil became warm. Due to this, he has concluded that cathode rays have heating properties.
This implied that cathode ray produced a heating effect. Thomson also observed
The third property what he observed, he said that cathode rays travels in a straight line. To prove this, what he has done, he has kept one object in between the cathode and anode. In between the cathode and anode, he has kept one object, and he observed that when cathode rays were passing towards the anode from the cathode, a shadow on the wall opposite to the cathode was appearing. He observed a shadow of that object opposite to the cathode. So during this experiment, gas fluoresces only in regions outside the shadow. The shadow can form only when the light travels in a straight line, or you can say when the cathode rays travels in a straight line. So with the help of this, he has concluded that cathode rays always travel in a straight line. One more thing he has concluded by this, since the shadow falls on the wall opposite to the cathode, so it means the rays travel from cathode towards the anode, है ना. शेडो तो वहीं बनेगी ना जहाँ से लाइट आ रही है. सो द शेडो इज फॉर्मिंग एट द अपोजिट वॉल ऑफ द कैथोड. दूसरी साइड बन रही थी कैथोड के. इट मीन्स कि लाइट कैथोड से आ रही है, एंड इन बिटवीन द कैथोड एंड एनोड देयर इज़ द ऑब्जेक्ट. तो उस ऑब्जेक्ट की शेडो उसके पीछे यानी कि कैथोड के अपोजिट वॉल पे बन रही है. एंड लाइट इज ट्रेवलिंग इन दिस कैथोड रेज आर ट्रेवलिंग इन अ स्ट्रेट लाइन. तो दो बातें इससे उसने प्रूव कर दी.
that if a solid object is placed in the path of cathode rays, it produced a sharp shadow of the object. Therefore, he concluded that cathode rays travel in a straight line. However, when he applied an
Then next thing he has observed what he said, that in the absence of electrical and magnetic field, these rays, yani cathode rays, travels in a straight line. But when we apply the electric or magnetic field, to the cathode rays in the discharge tube, so these rays get deflected. As we are saying, you can see that here in the diagram, he has fitted one electrical field, he had adjusted one electrical field. Above there is negative charge and below there is positive charge. And as I've told you that cathode rays come from a cathode and move towards the anode, and cathode is negative terminal, so he has concluded that cathode rays should have the negative charge. So when he produced this magnetic field, he observed that these rays deviate towards the positive charge, and because these are deviating towards the positive charge, so this shows that the particles in the cathode rays carry negative charge. It is actually proven that the particles in the cathode rays carry the negative charge. And when he has done the same experiment with producing the magnetic field, when the cathode rays are made to pass through a magnetic field, then the deflection in the direction corresponding to the presence to the negative terminal of the particle, means this time the cathode rays are deviating towards the north pole, and north pole represents the positive terminal, and we are saying that cathode ray particles are having the negative charge. So it is proven now that yes, they have the negative charge. मतलब क्या किया उसने, दोनों तरीके के फील्ड प्रोड्यूस किए. पहले इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड उसने लगा दिया ट्यूब के पास ऊपर नीचे, तो उसने क्या देखा कि जो कैथोड रेज हैं वो डेविएट हो गई पॉजिटिव साइड पर, पॉजिटिव टर्मिनल की साइड पर. तो अगर पॉजिटिव टर्मिनल की साइड पर डेविएट हो रही है तो इट मीन्स कैथोड रेज के अंदर जो पार्टिकल हैं दे आर हैविंग द नेगेटिव चार्ज. फिर उसने मैग्नेटिक फील्ड प्रोड्यूस किया, ट्यूब के ऊपर और नीचे मैग्नेटिक प्लेट्स लगा दिए. तो जब मैग्नेटिक फील्ड को प्रोड्यूस किया तो उसने देखा कि जो कैथोड रेज जो कैथोड से जब निकली तो वो नॉर्थ पोल की तरफ डेविएट हो गई. नॉर्थ पोल रिप्रेजेंट करता है पॉजिटिव टर्मिनल को, तो पॉजिटिव टर्मिनल की तरफ अगर डेविएट हो रही है तो इट मीन्स दे आर हैविंग द कैथोड रेज आर हैविंग द नेगेटिव चार्ज, बिकॉज वी नो दैट अनलाइक चार्जेस ओनली अट्रैक्ट टू ईच अदर. So because of this evidence, because of this deviation, he has proved that cathode rays are negatively charged because they are attracting towards the positive terminals.
electric field to the setup, the cathode rays deflected towards the positive plate of the electric field. He observed the same result on applying a magnetic field. Therefore, he concluded that the cathode rays consisted of negatively charged particles, which he named electrons.
So what he concluded, that cathode rays have negatively charged particles, and the name he has given to these particles, that is electrons, because electricity से related था तो electrons नाम दे दिया. पहले नाम दिया गया था neutrons, negatively charged है तो neutrons, but later on because electricity से भी relation है इसका तो electrons नाम दे दिया गया. He has proven some more things also. He has said that that when cathode rays when cathode rays strike against hard metals like tungsten, copper, etc., so they produce X-rays also. When cathode rays strike upon a glass or the certain other material to cause them to glow, so they have the fluorescence properties, because of this they use the cathode tubes are used in the television tubes also. Television tubes are also cathode tubes, as television picture results due to fluorescence on the television screen coated with certain fluorescent or फ्लोरेसेंस मटेरियल. क्या होगा कि कैथोड ट्यूब के अंदर से रेज निकलेंगी और जो टेलीविज़न की स्क्रीन है उसके ऊपर लाइट पड़ेगी, जिसकी वजह से जो भी पिक्चर होगी उसके अंदर वो हमें उस पर दिखाई दे जाती है. क्लियर. Then they said that cathode rays penetrate through thin sheets of aluminum and other metals. They have penetrating properties also. And then what he did, he changed the gas inside the tube. First he has taken the hydrogen gas, later he has taken oxygen gas, nitrogen gas, different gases he has taken. He has changed the material of cathode and anodes also. So what he has observed, that there was no change. कैथोड रेज की प्रॉपर्टीज़ में कोई भी चेंज नहीं आ रहा था. इट मीन्स ऑल दीज गैसेज एंड ऑल दीज मेटल्स आर हैविंग दैट पार्टिकल, उन सब के अंदर वो पार्टिकल कॉमन था, क्योंकि कोई भी गैस हम डाल रहे हैं तो रिजल्ट वही आ रहा है. सो व्हाट ही हैज सेड, व्हाट ही प्रूव्ड बाय दिस, ही प्रूव्ड दैट एटम हैव सम नेगेटिवली चार्ज फंडामेंटल पार्टिकल्स, कि सब कोई से भी एटम हो उन सब के अंदर ये नेगेटिवली चार्ज फंडामेंटल पार्टिकल्स होंगे, एंड दीज पार्टिकल्स आर नेम्ड एज इलेक्ट्रॉन्स. So now because these are the part of matter and matter is something which has a mass, so in electrons का भी कुछ mass होना चाहिए. charge तो हम कह ही रहे हैं कि इनके पास they are having the negative charge, but वो charge negative तो है, negative उसकी nature है, but वो charge है कितना, value क्या है उस exact उस charge की, वो पता होना चाहिए. and if these electrons are having mass, तो mass भी पता होना चाहिए. तो अब जो next experiment start हुआ वो start हुआ चार्ज और मास को कैलकुलेट करने के लिए. दो जे थॉमसन डिड नॉट टेल अस अबाउट द एग्जैक्ट चार्ज एंड मास ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉन, बट he gave us the ratio of charge to mass. He gave the charge to mass ratio to us. For this he did one more experiment. First see this, then I'll explain to you what was that experiment.
Through his experiments, Thomson also concluded that the properties of cathode rays do not depend upon the material of electrodes and the nature of the gas present in the cathode ray tube. This led him to the conclusion that electrons are the basic constituents of all atoms. Thomson then tried to calculate the charge to mass ratio of electrons by applying electrical and magnetic field perpendicular.
Okay, now to calculate, to determine the charge to mass ratio, what he has done, he has taken two metallic plates, one smaller plate and one bigger plate. The smaller plate represents the cathode, means he has connected it with the negative terminal, and to the bigger disc or to the bigger plate he has connected with the positive terminal. So bigger plate is anode and smaller plate is cathode. Here he has taken both these things in a glass tubes and connected the cathode to the negative terminal and anode to the positive terminal, and connected both the things with a battery. Then on the opposite side he has fixed a very big screen, a fluorescent screen he has adjusted over here. Now what he has done here, then he has adjusted the magnetic field and the electric field which were perpendicular to each other. You can see here is electric field also above and below the tube, and here is magnetic field also. He has adjusted both these fields in such a way that both the fields are perpendicular to each other and also to the direction of motion. Okay. So Thomson suggested, what Thomson has said, that the amount of deviation, because what I have said you, that when the cathode rays will come towards the anode, because cathode rays always travel in a straight line, so in between there is no you can see in between these two discs, that is cathode and anode, there is no field, there is no magnetic field and there is no electric field also. So the rays will move the rays will move straight, they will go straight. But when they will reach up to here, when they will come here near the magnetic fields or near the electric fields, they will show deviation. So the upper portion is, you can see here in electric field, that is positive terminal, and the lower one is the negative terminal. Here the minus sign you can see, so this is negative terminal and upper one is positive terminal. And because cathode rays are having the negative charge, so they will deviate towards the positive charge. So it means they after the deviation due to the electric field, the cathode ray should appear somewhere here, but here you can see there is that magnetic field also. So when the cathode rays will come here, due to this magnetic field, because क्या होता है, मैग्नेटिक फील्ड जो है वो इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड के अपोजिट डायरेक्शन में जाती है, रेज उससे अपोजिट डायरेक्शन में जाती हैं. तो इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड की वजह से अगर यहाँ जा रही हैं तो मैग्नेटिक फील्ड की वजह से कुछ यहाँ आना चाहिए, समवेयर हेयर. चलो उसके बारे में तो बाद में बात करते हैं, पहले ये बात करते हैं कि जो डिफ्लेक्शन है वो किन फैक्टर्स पे डिपेंड करेगा. ये जो डिफ्लेक्शन है, ये जो नेगेटिव और पॉजिटिव का जो ये इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड और मैग्नेटिक फील्ड की वजह से जो डेविएशन हो रहा है उसके बारे में उसने क्या बोला था जे जे थॉम्सन ने। उसने बोला कि द डिफ्लेक्शन डिपेंड्स अपॉन 3 फैक्टर्स, 3 चीज़ों के ऊपर ये डिफ्लेक्शन डिपेंड करता है। नंबर 1 इज़ मास ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉन, मोर द मास लेस विल बी द डिफ्लेक्शन, ग्रेटर द मास द लेसर विल बी द डिफ्लेक्शन। जितना ज़्यादा मास होगा इलेक्ट्रॉन का, डिफ्लेक्शन उतना कम होगा। सेकेंड थिंग, द चार्ज ऑन कैथोड, कैथोड के ऊपर जितना ज़्यादा चार्ज होगा उतना ज़्यादा डिफ्लेक्शन होगा। मोर द चार्ज ऑन द कैथोड रे मोर विल बी द डिफ्लेक्शन, ठीक है, उतना ज़्यादा डिफ्लेक्शन होगा। थर्ड थिंग, द स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ मैग्नेटिक एंड इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड, कि इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड की जो स्ट्रेंथ है मैग्नेटिक फील्ड की और इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड की, उस पर भी डिपेंड करता है डिफ्लेक्शन बहुत ज़्यादा। मोर द स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ मैग्नेटिक एंड इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड मोर विल बी द डिफ्लेक्शन, जितना ज़्यादा स्ट्रेंथ होगा मैग्नेटिक और इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड का, डेविएशन भी उतना ही ज़्यादा होगा। सो व्हाट ही डिड नाउ, व्हेन ओनली इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड इज अप्लाइड, जब हम सिर्फ इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड अप्लाई करेंगे तो द इलेक्ट्रॉन, अभी इसको देखो मैं आपको बताती हूँ, पहले यहाँ 3 पॉइंट्स बनाते हैं, रुको देखो।
Perpendicular to each other, as well as to the path of electrons flowing in a cathode ray tube. He observed
सी नाउ, व्हेन ओनली इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड इज अप्लाइड, अगर हम सिर्फ इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड को अप्लाई करें, अगर हम इसको मैग्नेटिक फील्ड को अप्लाई नहीं करें थे, तो इलेक्ट्रॉन डेविएट्स फ्रॉम देयर पाथ एंड हिट दैट कैथोड रे ट्यूब एट पॉइंट ए, समवेयर हेयर, यहाँ पर क्योंकि पॉजिटिव टर्मिनल है ऊपर एंड कैथोड रेज आर हैविंग द नेगेटिव चार्ज, सो ये यहाँ पर डेविएट होंगी। सिमिलरली इफ़ वी अप्लाई ओनली द मैग्नेटिक फील्ड, अगर हम सिर्फ मैग्नेटिक फील्ड अप्लाई करें तो क्या होगा, द इलेक्ट्रॉन्स डेविएट फ्रॉम देयर पाथ एंड हिट द कैथोड रे ट्यूब एट पॉइंट सी, सी पर करेंगे वो। बट वॉट थॉम्सन डिड, बाय वेरी केयरफुली ही हैज़ बैलेंस्ड द इलेक्ट्रिक एंड मैग्नेटिक फील्ड स्ट्रेंथ इन सच अ वे, इस तरीके से इन दोनों को बैलेंस किया उसने कि दोनों का जो इफेक्ट है वो एक दूसरे को क्या कर दिया, उसने नलीफाई कर दिया, एक दूसरे के इफेक्ट को कैंसिल कर दिया। और ये जो बीम, ये जो रे आ रही थी, कैथोड रेज आ रही थी एनोड से निकलकर, यहाँ दो मैग्नेटिक फील्ड के होने के बावजूद दे हैव नॉट शोन एनी काइंड ऑफ डेविएशन, उन्होंने डेविएशन शो नहीं किया और वो स्ट्रेट ही चली गई, यानी बी पॉइंट जो है वहाँ पर जाकर उन्होंने स्ट्राइक किया। ये कैसे पता चला कि डेविएट नहीं हुई, ये स्क्रीन हमने इसीलिए लगाई थी यहाँ पे इतनी बड़ी, तो स्क्रीन लगाकर उसने इसको बैलेंस किया, इन दोनों को इस तरीके से बैलेंस किया कि वो डेविएशन नहीं हो पाया और वो सीधा ही चला गया। तो बाय कैरिंग आउट एक्यूरेट मेजरमेंट्स ऑन द डिफ्लेक्शन ऑब्जर्व बाय द इलेक्ट्रॉन ऑन द इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड स्ट्रेंथ और मैग्नेटिक फील्ड, थॉम्सन को क्या करा उसने, थॉम्सन बिकेम एबल टू कैलकुलेट द वैल्यू ऑफ चार्ज मास रेशो। तो इस तरीके से बैलेंस करके उसने चार्ज मास रेशो दिया हमें। क्या दिया उसने वो रेशो, उसने बोला द चार्ज मास रेशो दैट इज E अपॉन M is equivalent to 1.75 into 10 to the power 11 coulombs per kg. So where M is the mass of electron in kg and E is the magnitude of the charge on the electron. I am repeating, the charge to mass ratio is E upon M, where E is the magnitude of the charge and M is the mass of the electron, which is equivalent to 1.76 into 10 to the power 11 coulombs per kg. Clear? Because the electrons are negatively charged, so the charge on electron is obviously negative. But he has given only the ratio. He has only given the ratio. He didn't explain us. He has not given us the exact value of the charge and the exact value of mass of electron. So for this, the another scientist, R.K. Millikan in 1909. He has done one experiment which is called as oil drop method. See this first.
that the amount of deviation of the electrons from their path depends on 3 main factors. 1. The magnitude of the negative charge on the particle. The more the negative charge, the greater the deflection. 2. The mass of the particle. The lighter the particle, the greater the deflection. 3. The strength of the electrical or magnetic field. The stronger the field, the higher the deflection. When only electric field is applied, the electrons deviate from their path and hit the cathode ray tube at point A. Similarly, when only magnetic field is applied, electrons strike the cathode ray tube at point C. By controlling the deviation of electrons by varying the strength of electric and magnetic fields, and accurately measuring on the amount of resultant deflections. He calculated the charge to mass ratio of an electron, which equals 1.758820 into 10 raised to the power 11 coulombs per kg. The charge and mass of the electron, however, remained unknown until another scientist, Robert Millikan, devised a method to calculate them in 1909. In order to calculate the charge of an electron, Millikan conducted the famous oil drop experiment by using the apparatus shown here. It consisted of a transparent electrical condenser with one metal plate.
See, now in this experiment there is this tube, you can say, and this contains 3 chambers. एक ये पूरा है which contains 3 chambers. Clear? 1 plate, 2 plate and 3rd plate. Second and third plates are connected with this battery. So it is connected, the upper one is connected with the positive terminal and lower one is connected with the negative terminal. So it means the upper plate is having the positive charge and lower plate is having the negative charge. Now from this spray, this is atomizer spray. This is a special kind of spray which converts the drops into approximately the size of atom. So this spray will convert the drops of the oil approximately to the size of atom. इतना छोटा कर देगा उसको. So the small drops of oil in the form of mist are formed by this spray and these are allowed to fall in between the 2 plates. यहाँ से यहाँ आएंगे. Now in this plate there is a very small hole. इतना छोटा होल है कि उसमें से एक बार में एक ही ड्रॉप निकल के यहाँ पर आएगी. ठीक है, इस प्लेट में से ये ड्रॉप निकल के नीचे आ रही है. एंड हेयर सिंगल ड्रॉप बिटवीन द प्लेट्स इज ऑब्जर्व बाय मीन्स ऑफ अ टेलीस्कोप. यहाँ पर हमने क्या लगा रखा है, एक टेलीस्कोप लगा रखा है जिससे कॉन्टिन्यूस वी आर गोइंग टू ऑब्जर्व. सो द ऑयल इन द फॉर्म ऑफ मिस्ट ड्रॉप्स फॉल थ्रू द एयर अंडर द इन्फ्लुएंस ऑफ ग्रेविटेशन फोर्स. क्या होगा उसमें, ग्रेविटेशन फोर्स की वजह से ये जो ऑयल ड्रॉप है ये नीचे आएगा. ठीक है ना, नीचे आ रहा है. अब नीचे यहाँ पर अगर आप देखो तो हेयर वी आर इरेडिकेटिंग द स्पेस बिटवीन द प्लेट्स विद एक्सरेज. यहाँ पर हमने एक्सरेज पास करी जिसकी वजह से क्या होगा, दीज एक्सरेज विल नॉक इलेक्ट्रॉन्स आउट ऑफ सम ऑफ द मॉलिक्यूल्स ऑफ एयर. एयर में से कुछ इलेक्ट्रॉन्स को, कुछ एयर के मॉलिक्यूल्स में से कुछ इलेक्ट्रॉन्स को वो क्या कर लेगा, नॉकड आउट कर लेगा. और ये जो इलेक्ट्रॉन्स हैं ये जाकर ऑयल ड्रॉपलेट के ऊपर चिपक जाएंगे. जो ऑयल ड्रॉपलेट नीचे आ रहा था, अब यहाँ से हमने एक्सरेज पास की. एक्सरेज की वजह से ये जो एयर है इसमें एयर के कुछ मॉलिक्यूल्स में से इलेक्ट्रॉन्स निकलकर उस ऑयल ड्रॉप के साथ चिपक जाएंगे. नाउ इलेक्ट्रॉन्स चिपक गए ऑयल ड्रॉप के ऊपर एंड इलेक्ट्रॉन्स आर हैविंग द नेगेटिव चार्ज. और आपको मैंने क्या बोला था, ये दोनों प्लेट्स कनेक्टेड हैं. ऊपर वाली प्लेट आपकी पॉजिटिव टर्मिनल है और नीचे वाली आपकी नेगेटिव टर्मिनल है. एंड इलेक्ट्रॉन्स जो ऑयल ड्रॉपलेट्स पे चिपक गए उन पे क्या है, नेगेटिव चार्ज. तो वो पॉजिटिव टर्मिनल यानी ऊपर की तरफ अट्रैक्ट होंगे तो वो ऑयल ड्रॉप को ऊपर की तरफ खींचेंगे. लेकिन जो ग्रेविटेशन फोर्स है वो ऑयल ड्रॉप्स को नीचे की तरफ खींचेगा, है ना. तो क्या करा उसने, उसने इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड को इस तरीके से, अब ग्रेविटेशन फोर्स का तो कुछ नहीं कर सकता था ना, ग्रेविटेशन फोर्स तो जितना है उतना ही रहेगा. लेकिन उसने इलेक्ट्रिकल फील्ड को इस तरीके से एडजस्ट किया कि जो ऑयल ड्रॉप थी वो बैलेंस हो गई. उस ग्रेविटेशन फोर्स के साथ उसको बैलेंस कर दिया और जो ऑयल ड्रॉप है वो स्टेशनरी हो गई, बीच में ही रुक गई. ना तो वो ऊपर जा रही थी और ना ही नीचे आ रही थी. तो अब उससे क्या किया, फ्रॉम द अमाउंट ऑफ चार्ज ऑन द प्लेट्स एंड द मास ऑफ द ड्रॉपलेट्स. अब ये जो यहाँ पर सारा ये यहाँ पर सेटअप कर रखा था और ये एक्सरे टेलीस्कोप सब लगा रखा था, उससे उसने जब इसको एडजस्ट कर लिया, वो बाकी की फिज़िक्स है, उसने चार्ज जो था ड्रॉपलेट के ऊपर उसे डिटरमाइन कर लिया, उसे कैलकुलेट कर लिया. तो उसने क्या देखा, जो मास जो आ रहा था ड्रॉपलेट के ऊपर, जो चार्ज आ रहा था उसको उसने कैलकुलेट कर लिया. उसने देखा वो जो चार्ज है वो 1.6 इंटू 10⁻⁻19 कूलम्स या फिर उसका मल्टीपल था, उसका इंटीजर था. क्योंकि ये ज़रूरी नहीं है ना कि ऑयल ड्रॉपलेट पे सिर्फ एक ही इलेक्ट्रॉन चिपका हुआ हो. तो उसने देखा कि लेकिन उसका मल्टीपल था, उसका इंटीजर था वो हमेशा, या तो ट्वाइस या थ्राइस था. तो जो सबसे छोटी यूनिट आ रही थी वो थी 1.6 इंटू 10⁻⁻19 कूलम. सो व्हाट ही हैज़ कंक्लूडेड दैट द चार्ज ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉन इज़ 1.6 इंटू 10⁻⁻19. अब उसने चार्ज तो कैलकुलेट कर लिया और चार्ज मास रेशो ऑलरेडी हमें गिवन है, दे दिया था हमें जे थॉम्सन ने, दैट इज़ E/ma इज इक्वल टू 1.78 इंटू 10⁻11 कूलम्स पर kg. अब उसमें E की वैल्यू हमारे पास आ जाती है, दैट इज़ 1.6 इंटू 10⁻⁻19 कूलम्स. तो हम M यानी कि मास निकाल सकते हैं. है ना। तो मास उसने निकाल लिया इलेक्ट्रॉन का, जो आ गया हमारे पास 9.11 इंटू 10⁻³ kg। तो इस तरीके से जे थॉम्सन ने इलेक्ट्रॉन्स की डिस्कवरी की और उसका चार्ज टू मास रेशो बताया, और फिर मिलिकन ने उस चार्ज टू मास रेशो की ही हेल्प ली थोड़ी बहुत, एंड थोड़ा अपना एक्सपेरिमेंट करके उसने चार्ज और मास की एग्जैक्ट वैल्यूज़ हमें दी। ठीक है, तो सी दिस, देखो इसको भी।
At the top and the bottom of the chamber, plates connected to a battery such that the upper plate is positively charged and the lower plate is negatively charged. An atomizer to spray oil into the condenser through a hole in the upper metal plate. A telescope to view the movement of oil droplets. And a source of X-ray to ionize the air inside the electrical condenser. Using the atomizer, Millikan sprayed oil droplets into the electrical condenser. As the droplets fell through the upper plate hole, he measured the rate of fall and used it to calculate their mass. He then ionized the air inside the condenser by passing a beam of X-rays through it. The X-rays displaced electrons from air molecules, which negatively charged the oil droplets. On applying voltage to the upper positive plate, the charged oil droplets got attracted towards it against all gravitational and electrostatic forces. Millikan then varied the voltage to strike a balance between the acting forces and to make the oil drop stationary. He then calculated the change on the droplet from the mass of an oil droplet and the charge on the plate. He found that the magnitude of electrical charge, Q, on the droplets is always an integral multiple of the electrical charge E. That is, Q is equal to NE. Knowing the values of Q and N, Millikan calculated the charge on an electron to be 1.6 into 10 raised to the power minus 19 coulombs. The mass of the electron, or ME, was then determined by combining the results of Millikan oil drop experiment and Thomson's value of E by M ratio, and was found to be 9.1094 into 10 raised to the power minus 31 kgs. Just like the discovery of cathode rays,
Now the discovery of cathode ray is done. Now in next video I'll explain you about the discovery of protons. Clear?